So today's video is for you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Whether you're a music producer, artist, whatever you're doing, I know that you have had your doubts. Maybe you're new to this, maybe you're a novice at this, you've been putting a lot of work in and you're not seeing the results that you want to yet. So this is an important message coming from me because I'm not really doing this full time as a living yet, but I'm somebody who's technically been doing it for a long time, but I've quit many times in between when I started and where I am right now. So in today's video, we're gonna be going back and we're gonna listen to some of the first beats that I ever made, some of the first rock recordings that I ever made, and hopefully encourage you that are having your doubts about the time and effort they're putting into this. And you're also probably gonna get a few laughs along the way, so stick around. All right, so before I play the first track, I want to read this quote to you. And this is from an American journalist by the name of Jessica Savage. The quote says, "I worked half my life to be an overnight success, and it still took me by surprise." So if you're somebody that still believes that there's such thing as an overnight success, get that out of your head right now, man. Like, it just doesn't happen. And I'll use Justin Bieber as the prime example because people always think, oh, he just got discovered off of YouTube, got scooped up by Usher, and he was instantly famous. So wait, you just think that he just all of a sudden started playing instruments at that high level or started singing that well by fluke? The kid put like tons and tons of hours into practice and lessons to get to where he was, to put himself into a position to be launched like that. Okay, so let's start with the first beat that I ever made. This was in 2008. I didn't own any of my own equipment. I just worked with a guy who had a bootleg copy of Reason. We both became friends and like grew connected on hip hop. And he said, "Hey man, since you're a musician, why don't you come over and let's see what you can do on Reason. Let's see if we can make some beats. Maybe that's something we can start doing together." So we fired up Reason and this is what we came up with. There's so much high end in those hi-hats. I'm gonna try and edit a little bit of that out so that anybody wearing headphones doesn't kill me. I mean, structurally, it's a beat. Keep in mind, this is 2008, but I mean, it's garbage. There's basically no low end, which is all that really matters in hip hop and modern music in general. But the thing is that I thought that was amazing then, and that kept me going. I'm like, okay, let me see what else I can make. And so a little over a year later, my lady so graciously bought me a Mac laptop and I got Logic and I started working on producing my own rock demos for the band that I was in at the time. So in December of 2009, this is a track that I recorded. Fair warning, I'm not a good singer. All right, that's enough of that. I mean, just absolute dog poo. But you know, time went on. I spent more time recording, learning little bits here and there about the DAW and how to use it. And by the time that I got Machine in 2012, I had a decent grasp of what I was doing. And man, like we're talking 3 years later here. So 2012 is when I pivoted and I stopped performing in bands. I stopped like making that an option for what I wanted to do with my life. I focused on hip hop, pop production, things like that. And that's when I started learning about writing for TV and film as well. So I got Machine, I was stoked. I took a week's vacation so that I could just do nothing but learn how to use Machine. And I was so proud. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I came out of it with 5 beats that I thought were so sick, man. And so I'll play 2 of them here for you. Somebody want to wake those drums up? Making 5-minute beats, like what was I doing? So those two, I would say, compositionally, they're not really that bad, right? There's good melodies in there. There's good dynamics, good layering between the instruments. But the sound selection is just garbage. Even for 9 years ago, those sounds are not good, man. I was just using whatever was in the machine sound library. And then fast forward another year and I got something that sounds like this. And that's when I can say I actually saw some progress, because I started focusing on the producers that I like, heavily influenced by T- and Boy Wonder at that time. And so the drums started to get a little bit better for that time period especially. But then I quit. 2013, I quit. I thought, you know what? I'm not seeing the progress that I want. A solid year into hip hop production, and it's just not where I want it to be. So instead of, taking a step back, deconstructing my process, trying to pick apart what I could make sound better, what I'm comparing myself to, what's on the radio, and all that kind of stuff that could have made me progress a lot faster, I gave up. That's a whole life story, but I didn't really come back to it until 2018. Let me ditch these things. And even then in 2018, my sound wasn't where I wanted it to be, but that's when I started thinking about things properly. I started thinking, okay, let me focus on my mixing first. Let me learn how to level properly. Let me learn how to make the kick and the 808 work together. And so I got my mixing on point. And then in 2019 is when I started really focusing on sound selection. And I even got better in 2020 with my sound selection. The biggest takeaway that I want you to get from this video is first and foremost, don't give up. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. Most successful people in the music industry, no matter what area of the industry they're in, they will tell you that you gotta be able to do this for the love first and foremost. And I think that that's what's missing a lot in society today, especially with social media and how easy it is, like the barrier to entry to produce. Man, like when I started recording stuff, it was in 2003 on a 4-track cassette recorder that I bought off of eBay, just to hang one mic in the middle of my jam spot, record the band, and then like maybe do some overdubs afterwards. How easy it is for somebody to get into music production right now is crazy. So count your blessings with that for sure, but just don't give up. Listen to all of the videos that you're watching, like all these tips and tricks videos, pay attention to them, apply them. Think about it, like, are you actually doing those things, or are you just throwing things together and you think that you've made it work? Because your sound selection might be perfect, but your mixing might be garbage. So then you can look at it and say, well, how come my beats aren't selling? How come I'm not getting placements here or there? It's because you're missing big components of the process. So I just want to say, relax a little bit. Don't rush it, but be smart. Focus on the things that you need to improve first, and then chunk it. Take it one step at a time. Focus on mixing, focus on sound selection, focus on composition, and things will progress very quickly. But you got to put the hours in. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. Get feedback from people that you trust, and you'll get there. Think about it this way. A lot of the times when you're learning an instrument like guitar, they might say, okay, you're going to practice for an hour. So 15 minutes of that is going to be exercises. 15 minutes of that is going to be learning theory. 15 minutes of that's going to be improvisation, and the other 15 is going to be working on a new technique that you haven't got down yet. So think about your music production process like that. Because if you just open your session and you go in and you do the same thing that you're doing every day, you're not going to progress. So let me know in the comments, are you at a point right now where you still get down on yourself? You still feel like you're not motivated? Put it out there. I'll offer any advice that I can, and I'm sure that there's lots of other people that'll watch the video that'll comment on it too, because we need to make this whole musician community a lot more positive. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll see you in the next video.